Hello and welcome to my channel. I live in a tiny apartment in the outskirts of Oslo, Norway. The main railway station is about 35 minutes away, so not that far, but when you drive, it's a few kilometers away. I have this kind of apartment where friends will share pictures and that look like this. A main workshop area, a tiny bedroom, a tiny bath, a tiny kitchen, and usually with sort of emoji, laughing emoji. And it's true. That's my flat, that's my apartment. Whenever I have a project, I need to use the whole space. And it can be chaos. It can be chaotic because there's sort of small piles everywhere. I'm almost like a young person. I'm almost like a child, you know. They go all over the place and are interested in different things and just place small things where they went. And that's me. Small piles of hobbies and interests everywhere. It can be quite challenging sometimes. But the reason I bought this apartment in a place that I have never been before, in an area I have never been before, is something I want to show you today. This apartment has a secret. I can walk outside from my tiny apartment onto grass. This apartment has a garden. And it was built, when I moved here, when I bought it, it was not a garden at all. But they renovated the whole complex, and with that, a garden was born. And all the bushes and trees that I have, they came from that period where I started a new garden during that time. I would love to live in a larger apartment, but that is not in the cards right now, and I do not think it will ever be. It would be nice to have an apartment where I could have a living room open and ready for guests. But whenever I have guests, I need to organize my whole apartment to be able to pave some way to the dining table. But I use what I have. I am content with what I have, and it works for me. I have reorganized my apartment so that it looks not like an ordinary apartment with a dining room and a dining table and a place where sofa and guests can sit. I have a dining table, period, for my guests. Everything else are tables for hobbies and crafts and you name it. The garden is also tiny. So I have a tiny apartment with a tiny terrace and a tiny garden. And that's my flat. This garden is also tiny, but even with a tiny garden, you need all the tools. You need a grass mower, you need to be able to cut the grass, you need shovels and all sorts of things I do not even know the English word for. So I have all the stuff, I have all the things. But there's something I'm very excited and very eager during the dark winter months, sort of December, January, February, March. during these months I start to plan and find out what I'm going to do with my garden, what I'm going to grow, what vegetables I want to see how grows. And then I start to plant seedlings, I plant seeds, I watch them grow, I put them out in the garden. And during May, June, I sort of lose interest. And then nature happens. And the wilderness takes over. And that has happened to me and the garden this year. Maybe when I retire I will be able to keep up with the garden, because even if it's tiny, it's astonishing how much wilderness it can become in such a small place. So I'm going to show you. Yeah, I harvested oregano quite early and hung it up to dry for a few weeks in my lovely macrame thingy. And my idea was to go back to the oregano and harvest some more, because I really use a lot of herbs in my cooking. But then things happened, life happened, and the oregano flowered. Maybe it's not true, but I have learned that all herbs should be picked before they flower, and here in Norway before the 23rd of June, before the midsummer day. Maybe that's flawed, I don't know. But since I had passed that time, I thought, okay, let it flower a bit. And then the bumblebees loved the oregano, and the butterflies as well. And I'm thinking, I just need to let it go now, right? Let nature have its course. Let the bumblebees have their joy in the oregano. And the bumblebees have done such a wonderful job with my blueberry. I have a few blueberry bushes, and they have been pollinating eagerly, and I have now picked a few grams of my blueberry, and the thrush has been there and inspected. They sort of walk around. He just sort of walks around like he's owning the place and checks, are they mature? Can I eat them now? Yeah. So I'm going to take you along with me. It's going to be a bit of a challenge because I can't show you the neighbors' spots and places. So I'm going to work on the camera a bit. So join me. Heading outside on the terrace. There's something resting here. And off we go. This is so lovely. Oh, yes. I don't know the English word for these. No, this one. These are dahlias. I need to deadhead them, I think. Yeah. More work. I had large trees growing here, but I took them down and I planted new ones. I will put a picture, I think, shows you what it is and the English name for these. And here is my joy. Working on getting the flowers in, but not my neighbors. Red currant. More red currant. That's one from last year. I planted a new one. It doesn't thrive as well, but that's because the trees I previously talked about, they had taken all the water. There are a few plants here I have no idea what it is. I didn't plant it. The nature have been working on it. And here are the flowers of the oregano. Let me go around here. There's still a few bumblebees working here. Oh. And a butterfly. How can you cut something down that brings so much joy to insects and bumblebees? We have a tree. No flowers on it yet. I need to wait now a full year until next time. Name will be on the screen. And here we have black currants, which I have failed to pick in a fashion, good fashion. I think most have dropped. There are still a few. I really need to get going here. The wilderness continues. Here it was the garlic. So I have saved the garlic for now. Another thing I do not remember or know what is called in English. I have no idea. More wind on us, more oregano. Grapes. And these, oh look, I've been picking this bush previously. But they are now matured and I need to pick them again. I have several more here I can work on and pick. And last but not least, in the wilderness of this garden is apples. I have an apple tree. So yeah, now you have seen the wilderness. Yeah, it's been there. I've had this garden for quite some time. I've had years where I've been able to keep it tidy, to keep on top of things, and to work in the garden half an hour every day. But then I have also had a few years where I didn't want to invest so much time in it, and I have tried all sorts of vegetables in that garden as well during the years. Whatever vegetable that can grow in Norway, I have tried. What I'd really wanted to try and to grow was a few vegetables that requires so much space that is not really feasible in such a small garden. But what I have been able to do is every year is to be self-sustained with garlic, and that alone brings me so much joy. And of course, just stepping outside the garden and see all this life, it's like you're inviting an ecosystem in, even though it's a wilderness. And maybe because it's a wilderness, it's now a place for many different insects to enjoy. So maybe even the wilderness has a purpose in my garden. I just wanted to share my garden with you because I'm going to go back to it and show it in further videos, and now you know. So bye from a tiny apartment with a tiny garden in Oslo, Norway. Bye, thanks for watching. Bye.